Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. All right, my beautiful people, well, welcome back to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and today is Mindful Monday. Today is our last Monday of the month of April for mindfulness, and I am so excited for this because this is all about relationships with mindfulness, right? You know, this entire month has been such a powerful reminder of the self-love doesn't just happen in grand moments, but in the stillness, in the quiet, in the way that we show up moment to moment. Now, I got a little announcement before we dive in. Again, this is the final Mindset Monday for April. And next week, we will begin our beautiful May series of nurturing relationships. So we're taking all this presence and mindfulness that we cultivated, and now we'll be applying it to our connections with our partners, with our families, with our friends, and most importantly, with ourselves. But today, we're ending this April on a very powerful note, and that's by talking mindfulness and relationship, building a deeper connection. And as always, I am joined by our resident therapist and a true soul brother, Dr. Will Washington, who's here to help us to dig deep and build strong emotional foundations. But don't forget the free Year of Rebirth workbook. Part 1 is still available now for download. And the April section is all about mindfulness and presence and practical ways to slow down and reconnect. But before we bring Dr. Will to the stage, you know what we have to do. We have to take a break. It's your girl, D Goddess Nyomi Banks, here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back.
Ready to transform how you think about love and mental health? This May, join host Nyomi Banks and Dr. Will Washington and expert guests on Love and Mental Health, a powerful 4-part series exploring relationships through the lens of mental wellness. Every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Ask Nyomi, Bridging the Gap. Do you have a story to share? Your experience matters. Email us at asknyomi@gmail.com and be part of the conversation that's changing lives.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good. So I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
All right, my beautiful people, well, welcome back. Hey, Dr. Will, welcome.
It's so good to see you. Oh my God. We made it this whole month. We made it.
Yes, we made it.
It didn't, but we did.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
It was just the universe telling us, be still.
It was because that storm was swirling.
Yeah.
Had to be in the eye of our own storm. We have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm asking a favor today because we hadn't heard you really guide us through our guided meditation. We got the little breath work that you gave us earlier last week, which was amazing. But now we want you to lead us through this guided meditation. You know how we do it. So if you're new here to the Season of Self-Love, this is something we do every day, Monday through Friday. But Dr. Will is going to guide us with a nice guided meditation to help us to ground ourselves before we get into this topic. You ready?
I'm excited. Let's do this. So if you're listening, just let's relax our bodies, get somewhere comfy, somewhere relaxed. and just notice your body. Take a deep breath in with your nose, out with your nose. Keep your mouth closed and just really focus on that airstream entering your body. I want you to follow the way the air goes into your body and how it flows out of your body. This is called your peace. Breathe in your peace. Breathe out understanding. Breathe in peace. Breathe out understanding. When we say, I don't want anybody to compromise my peace, or I don't want anybody to change my peace, you start with your breath. When you build connection, you focus on breath. Does this person make me breathe deep? Does this person make me breathe shallow? That's how you protect your peace. So as you walk through your day, think about how much breath you're taking with the people around you. If it feels shallow, protect your peace. If it feels deep and calm, open your heart. Allow your breath to move you to your peace. Slowly come back. Slowly be the breath you decide today.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Thank you. That was good. That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. Again, if you are new here to the Season of Self-Love podcast, it's something we do every day, Monday through Friday. Again, just to ground us before we get into the topic at hand. I'm glad that you introduced the breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your nose. It's something that I'm going to introduce on Wednesday's show, ending
really?
off the month. Yes.
See this? You see this? This is good.
Yes.
Synergy is beautiful. I love this.
Yeah. So you doing that kind of like, thank you, help, kind of usher it in. Yeah. And let me say this too. I like how you were saying breathe in peace, breathe out understanding, breathe in peace, breathe out understanding, but also understanding the different breaths that we take in, especially when we're communicating with one another.
Mm-hmm.
That's a powerful one. Knowing that when you're with someone, that you have deep inhales of breaths in, that's meaning to open your heart. But if it's shallow, then it means in my peace. And I want to make sure that we truly understand, because sometimes, and I'm just being honest, sometimes when people say, "Oh my God, just had me take a deep breath," because you understand what I'm saying?
Maybe heavy breaths in. People would think it's always an easy, like, People take gulps of breath in their nose. I don't know how they do it, but you do that. People do that a lot. Yeah, it's real. Yeah.
All right, so I'm excited for this conversation. We've been building all month long on this, and I'm excited to dive in. So we're going to talk about mindfulness, what it looks inside of a relationship, what it looks inside of a relationship. So what does being present really mean when we're interacting with others?
It's everything you say and everything you don't say at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And what makes it so beautiful is that you can really say everything to somebody, and they're going to take what your heart meant and not what your head meant. In terms of relationships, we have a lot to say, but we want it to be felt. And mindfulness in a relationship can really deepen the themes and the patterns and the center core of why we're here talking to each other, right? Sometimes in mindless conversations, we get focused on the misunderstanding, and we don't see that as a moment to bridge awareness and connection. So this whole talk about mindfulness in relationships is going to be beautiful, because this is all about reframing expectation, vulnerability, and boundaries in relationships. And it's so much all for the greater good of deeper connections. So we're right in alignment right now in this. So
Yeah.
timing.
Yeah, I love that, because truly being present doesn't mean that relationship or even in that conversation is perfect. What
Mm-hmm.
it means is that you are being aware. You are being aware of how you show up for that person, or how you listen, or how you love. So last week, I believe was it Tuesday or Wednesday? One of those, Tuesday or Thursday.
Tuesday. Yeah.
Um, I was talking about listening, heartfelt listening, listening with your heart. So
Mm.
instead of listening to respond, but truly listening and hearing what that person said, and you just said it about listening with their heart, listening to their heart when they're speaking versus from the words that they speak. It's like you
Yes.
can tell when, like when you and I have conversations versus we're on here and in our personal lives, those are
Mm.
heartfelt conversations because we truly care about what one another feels and what they're think or what they're going through to
Mm-hmm.
have an input or advice or even just an ear to listen without judgment. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I love that. And I think that my golden rule is with self-awareness comes emotional responsibility. So when we're in this mindful relationship, I'm becoming self-aware about how I might be emotionally responsible for how you may be feeling.
Hmm.
And you're also going to be doing the same for me.
Yeah.
So I think when both parties are doing that for each other, it opens up the golden statement that I always say for my client, my couples therapy is it's not what I think, it's how you feel.
Yeah.
It's not what I think, it's how you feel. And
Hmm.
learning to trust that what you're feeling is true to me.
Yeah.
That's a huge moment of trust and growth and building deeper connections too.
Yeah. All right. So I love how you talk about being in a relationship or having communications in a relationship and being aware of one another. So when talking with some of my clients and even in my own marriage, I remember just not always having the answers, but also taking accountability of what I might be making him feel by what I say. And
Mm,
yeah, yeah. And that was a big thing for us understanding each other in our relationship. And I know you know, because I'm gonna say it doesn't make sense, but you already know. Because when you so hard about, and I want to say proving that you're right, and it is like proving that you're right in the communication when you're communicating with one another, instead of just okay, wait a minute, hold on, what are they truly trying to say to me, and let me not take the words that they say and make stories out of them, because we can take one word,
yeah, they can
create
run. You can chase the rabbit. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
and just really listen to that person. And body language tells it all. Body language tells it all. It can either tell you they full of shit, it can tell you that they scared, or it can tell you that they are truly true of what they feel. But
Yeah.
then that's where it comes up to you with one, that discernment. One is taking that moment not to react, but to
Mhm.
have um a logical and a respectful response.
Mm. And it's funny, but I found that being, especially just being a man, right? Like being logical is a really difficult thing in a relationship. Because for me, 1+1 has to be 2. But it wasn't my job to figure out the other one. It's supposed to be 1+x equals 2. Um, and so a lot of times when we assume functionality, just being functional doesn't mean you're in a good relationship, right? And also being dysfunctional doesn't mean you're never going to have a healthy relationship either. And I know a lot of dysfunctional relationships that are highly successful, right?
Mhm.
And so it's like, well, how does that work? And it comes down to having that discernment of knowing how far do I go? Where do I limit myself? When do I lean in? And when do I lean back in my relationship?
Mhm.
Because when you don't know how to lean in and lean back in a relationship, it causes us to create assumptions and expectations that nobody signed up for. And
Yeah.
then that's when it starts deteriorating, when you don't know your space in the relationship. And there's
Yeah.
a difference between partnership and marriage. We always think of those two things as synonymous. They're very different to me. And
Mhm.
so we have to really understand what makes your relationship functional and what makes your relationship dysfunctional,
Yeah.
because those are two sides of the same coin,
Yeah.
and that's the truth of it. So I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah. And this is also what I want to say to the listeners too, is that every marriage is not cookie cutter. So what works for, you know what I'm saying? What works
Mhm.
for our relationships, it won't be the same. But one thing is to be that communication, that awareness, and being mindfulness is key to on how y'all relationship is going to be.
And let's be honest though. Let's be honest. Many relationships don't have the communication. No one's doing the self work to be mindful, right? And
Mhm.
so it just leaves that middle one that you
Yeah.
said, right?
Mhm.
And a lot of times in couples work, I teach relationships people how to be available for each other.
Mhm.
Availability is the preceptor, right? The preceptor of communication. If I'm not available to speak for myself and to listen to you,
Mhm.
I have nothing to offer this relationship.
Mhm.
And that is a hard truth. And so to teach the confidence to be available for communication is the first thing we talk about,
Mhm.
because a lot of times we're coming from a place of hurt, shame, fear, guilt, betrayal, and I'm not available for the next thing in the relationship. I'm not available for repair. And that can and so like to rebuild mindfulness in a space of availability,
Mhm.
right? That's a very hard thing to do in a short period of time for people. So this
Mhm.
is really a developmental thing that we both watch each other go through,
Yeah.
and some people grow a little faster than others, but it doesn't mean one's worse or one's better. It's just availability for communication is something that is not taught growing up.
Right.
It's just not taught.
No, you're absolutely right. And I want to piggyback off that just a little bit too,
Mhm.
is that even when we talk about availability, what does that availability look like for you? That's what we want to say.
Mm. Yeah.
Or especially for females, you can be in the same house every day, even be in the same space every day. But
Mhm.
if there is no communication, if there is no talk or anything between the two of you or any emotions, then there's something going on in that relationship, meaning that where is my disconnect? Where is
Mhm.
my disconnect with the relationship? But also, where's my disconnect with myself?
Mm. Oh, okay. We can go internal. So let's talk about internalizations, because that's real. Because people not willing to be available, that is an internal hurt.
Yeah,
That is self-inflicting.
yeah.
And so that's when you're supposed to be leaning in, you're leaning back,
Hmm.
and you're starting to break your own back now,
Hmm.
right? And so how do we address that, right?
Right. So let me say this because, and I can say, and I'm gonna say this because in my previous relationships, we can be in the same room, not say anything to each other, but I would think that I need to have that connection with him, either speaking to me or saying something or whatever, or something is going on with me. But that was because of me. It ain't got nothing
Mhm.
to do with him. That was because of what I thought that I needed for me to validate me or making me
Mm.
happy. So when we do talk
Yeah.
about that mindfulness, when we do talk about being in those relationships with one another, that is why the season of self-love is here. Because we cannot have relationships with others if we don't have that relationship with ourselves. You know what
Mhm.
I'm
And
saying?
that and I'm so glad you said that, because we always talk about reciprocity. I want reciprocity. I want reciprocity. Let's just start with reassurance,
Yeah.
right? Because I may not want back what you have if I haven't worked on me. Like, let's just start with reassurance, you know? And so sometimes I have to make sure I tell people, like, if I'm having a moment, I go, hey, I'm not mad at you right now. I'm mad at the fact that I'm dealing with myself right now, and I need 15 minutes to really figure this out, because it's not about you. I want you to know that you didn't do anything wrong, and I let you know that it's just me and I'm having my time. I'm having my time, and leave it at that. That's all I'm saying.
You my twin, because I say that too. For real. You are my twin. I said, look, I woke up.
I be having mantrums. I have mantrums. I be having mantrums. I do. And I'm a therapist. I get it. I have mantrums. It's real. I understand. I'm not okay.
Yeah. As you said that, I was like, oh, wow, that is me. Because I want to forewarn you before anything. Like, this is not your fault. I don't really haven't one of these.
Ooh.
You be walking around with a resting bitch face on all day. And like, damn, what the fuck I do?
Like, do I feed her or not? I don't know. I don't know if I feed her or not. That protein. Just eating.
Right. But the thing with that too is that even when you do say that, they still will think there's something going on. So this is my question to you. How can we get me? I'm so sorry. I'm having a flashback. I'm truly having a flashback because I now
let's sit. Let's just sit in it. Let's just sit. We can do that. We can sit.
Wow. Yeah, I'm literally having a flashback right now. Because the thing is that I never understood why I intimidate people. I never understood why, because I felt that I'm a sweet person, nice person, very giving, open heart, whatever. But there's a resting bitch face on my face, especially when I'm deep in thought, and I'm always thinking of something. It ain't got nothing to do with that person, but when I enter a room and it's a thought that I'm thinking on how I'm going to maneuver around a room, people look and say, "Oh shit,
what's about to happen?"
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, and it really don't be that. So when I say about it ain't about you and speaking that, people really don't be like, no, she just don't want to say it. No, I will tell you when it's about you, but it's not. I just want to be. But a lot of people can't receive that. So remember when you said about when you said everybody is not ready for that. So how do we go about that? How do you go about that being in a relationship, whether it's parents, children, or even lovers or friendship? How do we go about that of being in a relationship with them? That's where we start to bring up the boundaries, or learn what our boundaries are with that.
So the easy answer is ask yourself, what do they need to hear to be who they need to be? What do they need to hear? Because a lot of times we say things to people and it's not what they needed to hear. And so to build the reassurance to make sure it's clean, I always like acknowledging what they're doing first, so they know that I care and I'm aware of them. And then I say what I need. Because a lot of times people need to feel heard so they can be available for what you need. So for me, I would say like, hey, I know that you're working really hard on that, making a sandwich. I want to let you know real quick that I need some time. I'm having my moment, but it's not you. I just got to figure me out, but I'll be back in 15. I give a time frame so that they understand that there is a beginning and an end. We don't tell people there's no comeback. They're now they're waiting. They're like, well, how long am I supposed to think about this? You're right. So like they're gonna be like giving them a time frame gives them a piece of frame, right? A frame of peace. Sorry. So I think that's really important. And then the second, that's the easy way. The hard way is like I like to give a text. So it's a little more passive. So it's like I don't have to, because the presence is a lot. Because if your presence is powerful, the text is like, hey, you want to do this, and then you send a nice emoji that's light and friendly, so that they can be like, oh, okay, it's not bad. So then you can move on, and then you can text them back. Like, I'll text you when I'm back. It's a little more modern, a little more passive, but it's a great way to just get in and get out without actually having to sit. Because some people don't like that, and they'll make you stand there and have to talk about it. And then as a whole, then it's their fault. Then it is their fault. So yeah, I give those 2 ways. Those are 2 ways to do it. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the nonverbal cues, because they do matter. The eye
Yeah.
contact,
Mm-hmm.
putting down the phone.
I'm an
Nausea.
eye contact person.
Oh, I am too. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm right in your face. I'm right in your eyes.
yeah.
I'm counting your blinks. You
Mm-hmm.
know, people
Yeah.
don't like that nowadays. They're not as well, some people are. It depends what type of I was taught to be intentional about my presence.
Mm-hmm.
Like my father taught me as a man, one of the most powerful things you can do is have presence. Don't worry about power. Don't worry about affluence. Worry about your presence and everything will come to you as a man. So that's what I was taught. But, and also I look way too inviting anyway. Like I walk into a room area if everybody thinks like I'm their best friend. So I can't shut that off. I learned I cannot shut that off. I have a resting inviting face. So I have a riff. So I have a riff, so yeah.
Well, yeah, I had a rest in it. I think now I just have a nice little smile when I walk in a room, and it's just, they think I'm about to read them now, like I'm looking through their soul. Now they think I'm looking through their
Cool.
soul.
You got elder eyes now. That's that elder status. That's that elder status. Let me take a look at you, child. Come here. Give me your face. Let me read your soul.
Yeah, like I'm looking through their soul. But it
Uh-huh.
was something that you said. I'm trying to go back here. My little brain fog is showing up again. Oh wow. I just had brain fog that quick.
Take a breath.
Yeah. No, it ain't coming back. Mm-mm.
It's not supposed to be there. We'll keep going.
No, it ain't coming back. Mm-mm.
It'll come back when it's supposed to.
Right. Yeah. All right. So let's shift to empathy. What are
Mm.
some small things that we can do each day to be more empathetic and present with our loved ones?
Mm. I'm so glad you said how we can be more empathetic
Mm.
because people think that like everybody says that they're empathetic nowadays. I'm like, no, you're just emotionally nosy. And so I'm really happy you said that. So to improve empathy, it's just 4 steps. First, check yourself. Why do I care about this person and checking in with them? What's my intention?
Mm-hmm.
First, check yourself. 2, think about the intentionality, right? Check in with yourself, then the intentionality. Why am I taking up time and space and presence with this person?
Energy.
3, what's the impact that I'm trying to have on this?
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, 4 is what am I okay with when it comes to moving on? Like, what if I don't get the desired outcome? What am I okay with accepting? Because it's
Mm-hmm.
not supposed to be about your return on that,
Right.
because there shouldn't be a cost that you're receiving for being empathetic. I care because I'm here. I care because I care. Right? Be everything, expect nothing.
Yeah.
Right? That's principle 4 of my principle. So, yeah, it's just that check in with yourself, be intentional, understand the impact, and also accept the outcome for whatever it may be.
That is beautiful. And thank you for sharing that. I talk about this a lot, especially when it comes to family members and even friends
Mm-hmm.
and with some of my clients. Because so I'm gonna go back a little bit. We have this preconceived notions of what we feel people should be. Does that make sense? Of who they should be, period.
Mm-hmm.
But when we have these conversations with them, or better yet, I like when you're talking about the 4 things. A lot of times we don't do that because we already know what we want to hear from them. And I love that you say at the end, when you say, be prepared for whatever that answer or whatever that was going to be, that you are okay with it
Yes, accept it.
within yourself. You know, I believe when we do that, being empathetic, and we want to always give our opinion. And when our people don't take our opinion or our advice, we get offended. And it's like this,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, it's not about you. You're just there, supposed to be there of the support of the other person.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. And if they take your advice, oh, that's great. But if they don't, that's good too. What I see with that for me is that there's a blessing that they trust you to be able to talk to you and speak to you about whatever is going on. So in
Mm.
that, just having that relationship with them, that they trust you, that's a powerful thing. Don't misuse that because you want to be powerful with your advice or your feedback or whatever. Yeah, that's me.
Mm. I love that. And I think we there's a difference between holding space for somebody,
Mhm.
holding a container, and being present.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we might confuse those three things because we think that we may have a more important role
Hmm.
than what is actually occurring,
Yeah.
right? So it's just making sure that you understand the difference between like holding space, being a container, and then being present with somebody. It's very different.
Yeah.
And sometimes we confuse that. Sometimes we might get burned because we got too close to the fire.
Yeah.
You know, I would say like, sharing space with somebody is like a campfire. You want to get close, but you don't want to jump in the fire. And a lot of us be jumping in the fire and then be mad that we got burned. It's like, no, that fire didn't move. You
Yeah.
jumped in.
Yeah.
Like that's what happened.
Yeah. So let me share this with you right fast. So just honestly, just before we got on, probably about 30 minutes before I was having this conversation, and I was laughing because earlier this year I was like, I'm gonna be outside. I said this last year too. I'm gonna be outside. I went to the convention. Okay, yes, I am going to be outside. But 2 days later, I was sick as a dog. Like, you just not gonna be outside. Like literally, my body be telling me, like, no, you are not meant to be outside anymore.
Like we done.
You are done. You are just here. Just be here. And why I'm piggybacking off of what you said right there is
Mhm.
because me being in those spaces, I'm in three different realms of things. In one moment, I was a container just sitting and listening. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then there was a moment that I felt like I needed to have an answer for them because now they're looking at me like, okay, you're not going to have an answer to my problem or my situation. And I find myself when I come outside, that is where those three is boom, boom, boom is right there in my face. I
Mm.
already get it when my phone ring, but again, I changed my number so there's only a select few that are able to call my phone.
Yeah.
Then in that process, I have gotten burned from not understanding which one am I to do with this person.
Mm.
And when I realized that, and I can't say that I was burned. I would say that probably about 10 years ago that I felt burned. But in this moment, no, I didn't feel burned. In this
Okay.
moment, I was like, okay, oh, that's what that is. And then I was able to, now this is how I'm able to be with you in this. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Now I'm
Okay.
able to be with you. Then, yeah. So,
Okay. I like that because the fact that you can see that though is so much growth,
mhm,
right? And I always say you have to have your big three. And it's like, who are the big three people that you're cutting off? And who are the three people that you don't cut off, but you have to outgrow, right? Because not everybody you're supposed to cut off in life. Some
right.
people you're supposed to be reminders of why you have to grow, and
Mhm,
they'll naturally fall off like a natural organic process.
yeah,
And some people actually take the discipline in your life to cut off as well. And you can't build deeper connections with people until you make some outgrowths and some cuts.
right.
And it's unfortunately being mindful of you are just because they're not around doesn't mean you're not pouring into people.
Hmm.
And we tend to forget that just because they're not around in your face doesn't mean you're not pouring into them. Like I said, presence is power,
Hmm.
and how they show up around you can also take away from you. And we never talk about that part. And that's so important to think about in your next relationship that means something to you. Who else is coming with you? Who's watching you? And that's people watch, that takes energy away from you. It's real.
Ooh. That is so powerful, Dr. Will, because you never really think about that. You never really think about that because we always think of being present to being there in that moment, right there, right
Mhm.
now, in those spaces, and not thinking that a conversation or whatever that you do in life, that is a presence. So I'm gonna share something with you. Another one. I had a conversation with a guest that I interviewed 2 days ago. And I remember us having this conversation on me transitioning over to this whole platform, to this life. And when I'm, saying something positive and spiritual, I'll have somebody, of course, say, "Oh, you wouldn't say that when you had dick in your mouth," bam,
Mhm.
And so, you know, in the beginning, I used to get kind of upset, but then I thought about it. Well, that is how he met me. That's how he saw me on the
Right.
camera. He saw me with it in my mouth.
Right.
So I can't get mad at him. But what she did tell me, she said, "But when they do that, they feel that you've abandoned them." And I was like,
Mm.
wow. They say yes, because your presence to them is like a relationship
Exactly.
that they
They
have,
created that.
that they created. So when
Mm.
you're going somewhere else that they feel like they're not worthy of going, one, they feel like they was worthy that you didn't stay doing
Right.
this.
And you abandoned them. It's like, we created this. Why did you leave and not tell me? Like, I created this for you. I created this with you.
Hmm.
You may not have said anything to say about it, but I invested in that.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And when she said that hit, I was like, wow, I did not look at it or think of it in that manner, because you always
Mm.
think, well, they're not where you at right now. And if they
Mm-mm.
meant to be, no, it goes deeper. It goes into the abandonment. And just imagine
Mhm.
how abandoned they was before they watch you on that film or they watch you
Right.
in that music video. This goes for all the celebrities, anybody that has any kind of influence. People outside of that, they build relationships
Mhm.
like that with you, and
Right.
unbeknownst to you, you don't know it. So
Mm.
when we are in front of the camera like this, or we are with our voices and our influences, even when it comes to doctors as well, when it comes there, we still have to have a extra point of awareness on
Oh,
how powerful that is, that we
yes.
have. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, because I have to tell all my clients, I'm like, hey, look, I do this in the daytime, but also at nighttime, I'm performing, I'm on stage, and I'm thrusting and playing and going in. I was like, I'm both of those things,
Mhm.
but what you're getting is this. So,
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to be dancing in front of the stage. We're going to talk about your depression,
Mhm.
right? So, like, you're not getting both. And it's amazing how people just assume that I'm always going to be peaceful and still and talk like this,
Yeah.
and so they're always like shocked when they see me out, and it's like and I hate to say it, but a lot of celebrities, especially, they get caught in the character, right? They always get caught in the character, and it's so hard to see them try to be like remove themselves from that character that was 15, 20 years ago, and they've had all these other jobs, roles, positions, and they're still brought back to that thing when they were 21,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, when do you get to grow up? When do you grow up? And that's a sacrifice of wellness that you take for a passion or a job that you do to move forward in your life.
Yeah.
And that's really difficult.
Yeah. That's for me. Doing this, the season of self love in the podcast, I've been able to take back all of my authenticity and show it
Mm,
genuinely to the world. Whether I have my contacts in, my lashes on, no makeup, with my
right.
locks on or without, I'm genuinely me. I am truly happy in who I am and my journey. Like I have
Mhm,
no woulda, coulda, shoulda. I'm past that. I'm through that because I truly understand what it is.
mhm,
I understand what it all is. I understand what life is for me. And it's like a part of my life is to help others, to assist others,
mhm.
to understand that life is what it is. So let's talk about loving on yourself. And how do we
Yeah.
get there? About using the tools that is given to you on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yes.
Using those tools 7 days a week, and not
Mm,
all at one time, but when you have to go back and get it because you've been
yeah.
triggered by something. So now you know how to speak a reaction. The reaction is different than reacting. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, I think that's why for me, my philosophy for the company is heal always, right? You heal always. And it's not just doing everything from Monday to Thursday, like you said, like you do enough to remember how important being authentic is.
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing enough in a day to remember how your authenticity is so vulnerable and so important?
Yeah.
Because we have to live our representations all the time to make it through the society. And I don't expect you to make a deep connection if you're so focused on your representation rather than your authenticity.
Yeah.
Right? You have to be loved ugly too.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. And you have to be okay that you can be loved ugly. Because some people are willing to love you ugly. You don't want to be loved ugly. So that's your work that has to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So there's somebody for everybody and something happening for somebody. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of, are you willing to see yourself that way?
Right. But I ain't ugly. No.
Metaphorically ugly. Metaphorically. Like,
Ugly.
like, don't you ever.
But no, in all seriously, you're right. You just who you are, just there, period. And just truly loving on yourself. Just truly
Mhm.
loving. So let me share this because I won't speak to you till next month. Well, no,
Mhm.
we don't ask Naomi, but we're gonna speak at Ask Naomi
Right.
stuff. So, but during this month of mindfulness, remember I had to take a week off. That's because
Mhm.
that shit had to kick in for me. Like, no, you really need to get it together and check it all before you go on to this stage and get to talking.
Mhm.
We're not getting ready to do that. We're not getting ready to do
Exactly.
that. And so I love that I am so connected and aware on my body and I'm obedient and I pay attention to it. But in that
Mhm.
process, and something amazing happened. I was walking around my family room and I was like, girl, you are truly blessed. You are truly blessed. Then I thought about me always wanting to be a winner, always wanting to be number one. And I thought about all of my plans that I want to be the top such and such in this field, and the top such and such in this field, and
Mhm.
the top such and such in this field. And I was sitting there and I said, now why do I want to be the top in everything?
Why?
Why? I said,
Why?
why am I doing this season of self love? Why am I doing Ask Naomi Bridge in the Gap podcast? It ain't got nothing to do with no awards or no, any of that. So why did you just fall into that? Why you got into that? Because that was my natural habit. I played
Mhm.
basketball. I ran track. I was a competitor. That's all
Mhm.
that I did. Even though I compete against myself. But when that came to my realization, I said, oh, you've lost it. Even in
Mhm.
the process of we going on, this is 2 years of going into this, I just got it
Yeah.
this month. This month.
Wow. When you take yourself off the track and you feel how good the grass feels, you don't want to go back on the track,
No.
right? I thought I was trying to create something that nobody's seen before. I'm gonna go this. I'm gonna get the PhD. I'm gonna go. And the higher up I got, the less of my people I saw,
Mm-hmm.
but the less of myself was there,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to come back down because I realized that there is no finish line.
Yeah.
There are no lines. It's just you, me, and we.
Yeah.
And what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
What do we care about?
Yeah.
And can we care about it to the point where we love doing it?
Yeah.
Like if I can't like what I do, I can't be passionate about what I love.
There you go. There you go.
You know, it's
There you,
just that simple.
it
And
is.
now I'm being recognized for things on a whole nother level now because I stopped trying to be across that finish line. All the real stuff, all the fun stuff is between the race, not at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I learned to erase that finish line. And I think a lot of people that are listening to your podcast are going to be learning how to erase their finish line and their starting point, or
Yeah.
they're going to draw their starting point by listening to what you're doing,
Yeah.
and then they're going to try to run it and then realize that they don't have to actually go across the finish line.
Exactly.
And it's going to change their entire world.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. It's something that I say all the time and that I have to really thank my junior American Lit teacher. It's a circle. She always put me to dot outside of the circle. I never fit in. I'm not meant to fit in. We are not meant to fit in. Because once you start to do things to fit in with others, then you are no longer unique. You are like everyone else. And then that becomes what happens. Then that has to change you. I love the way that I do the season of self-love. I love the way that I do Ask Naomi Bridging the Gap. So if I continue to keep chasing to be up there with the other ones, you know what they're going to want to do? They want to go come in and want to change everything.
Yeah.
And take the genuine love of this away, that it won't be loving for me anymore. And that's when I realized too, like, no, this is it. And you love to do it. Yeah.
And that's a level of peace. When you can find peace in that, right? It takes a while to learn peace in that, because we've been conditioned to go beyond our capacity. But when you find that peace, you learn that you don't want attachments. You want connections.
Yes.
And once you feel secure in your connections, you want a deeper relationship.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And the deeper you go, the more you actually just express who you are.
Yes. And learning what those connections are for you.
Ooh, that's a whole learn what a connection really means to you. Because not everybody's the same meaning. Nobody has the same meaning.
No.
And it's never a loss if you learn the lesson.
No. It's never a loss if you learn the lesson. I love that. It's never a loss if you learn the lesson. All right, Dr. Will. Well, I don't think we said everything, but we got some pieces in there.
We got enough in.
All right, my beautiful people, as we wrap up this series on mindfulness and presence, I want to personally thank each and every one of you for tuning in, for showing up for yourselves, and just doing the inner work. Just doing the inner work. Next Monday with Dr. Will, we're kicking off a brand new series of nurturing relationships, fostering healthy connections. You do not want to miss it. Also, let me say this. Starting this Thursday on Ask Naomi Bridging the Gap podcast, Dr. Will be with me for the next 4 weeks there. And we have an amazing lineup of guests. We're talking about love and mental health. I'm excited for it. I know it's going to be very, very special. So if y'all free on Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, call Naomi's World. Go. We live. We're taking calls and everything. And You got any last piece you want to say?
Be kind to yourself and heal always.
I know that's right. All right, my beautiful people. As I always say, be good to one another and yourselves. And always keep it sense to keep loving yourself. Have an amazing day. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovering and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer.